In the summer, before I went off to graduate school, I was trying to stack as much money as I possibly could. This included working full time, taking up odd jobs on Craigslist like helping people move and tutoring high school students. One day while browsing Craigslist, I came across an ad work for as a junior animator, video editor. It paid 20 an hour, so I instantly applied. I had a passive familiarity with animation programs because my friend and I had spent years trying to design a simple video game, and my video editing was quite good because I had to run a popular YouTube channel when I was younger. I got the job. It was weirder than I expected. The company was a nondescript business complex in Irvine, and every employee had an electronic badge that unlocked doors. Certain levels of employees could unlock certain doors, being at the bottom tier. I could only unlock the entrance. The door to the room I worked in, the conference room where we'd been weekly meetings. I never saw any other rooms in the building, and never spoke with anyone who I worked with in them. There were 7 animators, including me. We sat in the row of cubicles in our own small room. Our job was to edit the cartoon knockoffs of popular children's characters, typically Spider-Man, Elsa, SpongeBob, My Little Pony, etc. We worked on 1 or 2 videos per week, and basically we just created cartoon objects and settings. The work was surprisingly simple, and there was very little real animation required. The job paid so much that I hardly paid any attention to how strange it was. The company divided our labor in such a way that none of us animators ever saw a video in its entirety. We worked on a few seconds of it, and that way that none of us animators ever saw this video entirely. And often, the project would be taken away from us and transferred to another department before we were finished. The rules were odd. The animators and I were not allowed to speak to each other under any circumstances. We were not permitted to exchange names or introduce ourselves. Speaking or looking at another person's computer was a terminable offense. No 2 people were allowed in the break room at a time, and no cell phones were permitted inside the building, ever. The room was strange too. It was blue. Everything was blue. The walls, the chairs, the keyboards, the door. A blue air freshener was taped to the wall on each of the workstation, but it didn't smell like anything. There was one object that was red, a telephone. It rang so often, but we were not allowed to answer it. I was instructed to stand up from my chair and stretch each time it rang, but over time I noticed the other employees had been instructed to do other things. One of them took deep, slow breaths. One of them put his head down on the desk. 2 of them left the room and returned. One swirled around in his chair and one coughed. I noticed a few other weird things about the company during my short time there. It wasn't unusual to see employees crying as they made their way through the halls. Any time I spotted one of them crying, they always tried to hide it. Some of them couldn't. On a few occasions, I saw a child wandering through the halls looking for someone, or maybe for a bathroom. When I brought this up to my supervisor, he told me, "It's bring your kid to work day for the department upstairs." He told me that 3 times in 2 months. Things started to get really uncomfortable around the 2-month mark. One day when I was checking my company email account for the weekly briefing workload assignment, there was an email entitled Lullaby. Inside was a link to a short, low-resolution video of a young girl sleeping in bed. She babbled in what I believe was Russian or Ukrainian, and occasionally fidgeted around, brought her hands up and defensively to protect her face. It was clear that she was having a nightmare. Behind her on the bedpost was a blue air freshener, much like the one next to me in my cubicle. The whimsical vaudeville music played in the background. I examined the recipients and sender of the email and found that it had been sent inside the company's several employees on the list. I forwarded the email to my boss and asked him what the deal was, and he quickly responded that it was a joke from our partners overseas, and that I had been mistakenly added to their recipient list. He told me to ignore it and keep up the excellent work, and that my review should be coming up, with the possibility of a raise. More than 20 an hour? I guess my memory is for sale, because I quickly forgot about the video. Only a few days later, when I returned to the office after a holiday weekend, there was another email waiting for me titled, "Be brave, Spidey." I was reluctant to open it, and now I wish I hadn't. Inside was a link to a Russian language website. When I clicked on it, I saw a video of a kid, probably 4 or 5 years old, dressed as Spider-Man, and the boy sat in what looked like a child's bedroom. His mask was pulled down, and his costume sleeve was pulled up. The boy screamed and cried as the adult man wearing a Hulk costume gave him 3 different injections with a long needle. Off screen, of course, another person hurled stuffed animals at the kid, hitting him in the head with them, and even once hitting the needle that struck his arm, causing the kid to wail even louder. By the end of the short clip, the boy was shaking and nearly catatonic. The Hulkman laughed and danced around him almost ritually. Cheerful kids' music played in the entire time. As far as I could tell, the video was not acted. From what I saw was a real medical procedure, and real terror horrified. I emailed my boss demanding an explanation. I received none after about an hour. Normally he replies within minutes or so seconds. So I left my cubicle and stormed down the hallway to knock on his office door. By the time I passed our conference room, I hear my boss's muffled voice, then a bunch of other racket. I was too angry and freaked out that I didn't care if I interrupted him. I banged on the electronic lock, then cracked the door open. The conference room was dark, but I could see about 15 men sitting inside the far end of the wall. Most of them were dressed nicer than me, so I knew they were senior employees who worked upstairs. A video played on a large screen at the other end of the room, and even though I couldn't see it from my angle, I recognized the sounds. They were watching the same horrific video I'd seen about an hour before. Some of the employees smoked cigarettes like they were at a fucking gentleman's club. Perhaps strangest of all, a conference phone sat in the front of them, and a loud noise came through the speaker, talking in Russian. One of the men in the room occasionally replied in Russian. I left work early that day, too freaked out to return to my station. By the time I got home, I had missed a call from my boss and a voicemail summarily terminating me, stating that the project was complete and that unfortunately my entire team was no longer needed. I didn't give a shit. I didn't plan on going back anyway. I spent the rest of the summer doing odd jobs, trying to forget that company. But weird shit continued happening, and it got worse and worse. A few weeks later, I visited my brother and his wife at their home in Southern California. My niece Katie was 5 years old at the time and could already operate electronics better than I could. She's got an iPad and spent a bunch of time showing me photos she's taken of birds and insects and people. She's got a Netflix and YouTube and watches those regularly. One night during my visit, my brother and I were on the couch watching one of the Hobbit movies. Katie was lying prone on the floor nearby, watching a cartoon on her iPad. When I leaned over and asked what she was watching, I immediately recognized the cheaply animated characters. It was a video I myself had edited. I recognized the ringing red phone, which I had designed after the phone in our office. I recognized the glass bottle the characters drank from, and I recognized the way the joints and jaws moved. All things I had worked on at one point during my brief stint at that company. But I had never seen a full video. This one was about 5 minutes long. It featured 2 Cartoon Network's kids dressed up as Elsa in Spider-Man costumes, stealing their father's beer and getting drunk. Then one of the kids trips and falls, smashing his face into the desk and splitting his skull open. Blood sprays everywhere. I was confused and disturbed by this video, but it wasn't until YouTube's stupid autoplay featured cycled to another recommended video. That I really freaked out. Another video played, and then another, and another. All the products of my company, which I had worked on. Every video recognizable children's characters from Disney and Marvel and other big brands. But something weird or violent or sexual took place in them. I pulled Katie away from the iPad and put in Finding Nemo on the TV for us to watch. Before I returned home, I warned my brother about what I had seen and advised him to keep her off of YouTube for a bit. It wasn't until I returned home and started digging around on YouTube to find the true scope of these fucked up videos come to light. I found several channels with child-oriented names like Silly Hero Fun, Not a Real Name Mods, all of which produce videos exactly like the ones I had worked on. They all suspiciously target children using familiar characters, and they all link to more legitimate cartoons via the recommended videos algorithm. The more I watched, the deeper the rabbit hole seemed to go. These videos were constantly removed, renamed, and re-uploaded over and over and over. After watching about 100 of these videos, I found that they all have shared certain similarities that can be divided into recurring themes. By intergalactic no-sleep law, I'm not allowed to link the videos or mention the YouTube channel names, but if you want to find those videos, simply type Elsagate into YouTube and you'll see for yourself. Warning, the cartoon videos are disturbing, and live-action ones are outright depraved. I consider some of them to be actual child abuse. The themes I have identified as follows. Some of the videos show characters stealing alcohol and hurting each other. One shows like child versions of Mickey Mouse getting drunk on their dad's beer, and one of them splits their head open. The same video has been reskinned over and over with Elsa and Spider-Man, Paw Patrol, and Minions getting drunk and hurting themselves and unconscious in these videos. Also, burning yourself on a stove or getting stuck in the escalator are common. Accidental injury is driven pilot device. Search Elsa drunk hurt head or Mickey drunk hurt head. It works with Spider-Man, Hulk, etc. The phobia of spiders and insects is another common theme. I found a video showing minions covering themselves in disgusting-looking bugs, and at the end of the video depicts a man drinking a bottle of urine, which I'll discuss below. Another video shows Elsa, Spider-Man, and Hulk all being swarmed by insects. Sometimes they require hospitalization and surgery because of the bugs. The characters always react to horror with bugs, and the bugs always injure them. Search terms include Mickey insects or Elsa insects gross. Drinking from toilets, eating poop, drinking urine, and smearing feces on people's faces is another theme commonly portrayed in these videos. Many of them are live action, with the real characters dressed in costumes that targeted the attention of children. In one video, Spider-Man and Elsa drink from toilets and also find insects in one. In another, Venom buries Elsa alive and shits on her head, and another shows up Joker-themed excrement to Elsa and Spider-Man. Any of the characters' names with the word poop or toilet will return in these videos. Extreme medical violence and the phobia of sharp objects is yet another common theme. You'll find these videos including children cutting each other's fingers off with razors, doctors forcing needles into children's arms, eyes, and rectums, and gory surgery are all present. In one, the Hulk crushes Elsa's bones. She requires injections. In another, Hulk gets needles shoved into his face and his eyes pulled out with tweezers. In that same video, Spider-Man throws sand at a child's eye, and the child requires injections in said eye. Spider-Man later gets sick from eating bad food and requires needles to be shoved into his body in multiple places. Search terms like Hulk eye injection, Elsa surgery, or Spider-Man Elsa sick. Pregnancy is frequently depicted as a curable illness. Unsurprisingly, the cure is an abortifacient injected directly into the woman's stomach. The worst video I found depicts tummy aches, illnesses, and pregnancy in a very blended way, all of which require the use of needles to cure. In another live-action video with real people, an evil doctor chases pregnant children around with a giant needle while they scream and cry. Many of the pregnant women give birth to insects or logs of shit. Search terms include Elsa pregnancy surgery and Elsa pregnant injection. Really, any of these cartoon names with pregnant works. The helplessness of children to protect themselves from adults is a popular theme, especially in the live-acted videos. Many of them, a large adult dressed as Hulk grabs children by their necks and holds them to the ground, rubs his ass all over their faces, or otherwise beats them up. Search terms include Bad Hulk Superhero Battle. It gets worse and worse the more you follow in the video trail. There are also tons of videos of toddler-age girls being kidnapped and tied down by adult men, depicted in a playful manner. The men are watching frightening Halloween masks, and the children are often crying and not having fun at all. Some appear in pain. So many of these have been reported taken down by YouTube, and now that the channel's all converted into video titles in Russian, they had not been searched in English. This is the sickest channel I found, and the point where I completely stopped watching. Sexualization of children and depiction of pregnant children is a good thing. Many of the Elsagate videos depicted children angrily sexual light. The most popular channel with this kind of content stars 2 young Asian girls and has 3 million subscribers. Many of these videos depicted butt shaking, plain doctor, and fake vomiting. Others show girls and boys celebrating their own pregnancies. Won't even provide the search terms for these, just don't. It took me a while and a bit of research to pick up on how the purpose of these videos. At face value, they're all a bunch of psychotic nonsense. But when I started to see how they all mimic each other and build on each other, I realized that they might have had grand purpose. The fact that these are thousands of videos, but they all cover the same 7 topics: screams, conditioning. The creators of these videos are banking on the probability that if kids watch enough videos, they'll be saturated with 2 or 3 ideas. Hit your friends, blood is funny, poop is for eating, when the adult gets on top of you, don't fight back. The fact that violence and sex are such a recurrent themes tells me that the creators want to normalize them. They want kids to be desensitized to sex and violence, maybe even curious about them. The comments in the videos reveal what a lot of viewers are adults and fetishists, perverts. They really enjoy videos of kids being kidnapped and tied up. They beg for more and offer to support crowdfunding. In short, these videos are designed to groom children and satisfy perverts. After digesting this information, I contacted my brother, who had same terrifying news for me. Apparently, he and his wife received several phone calls from people asking for me. When my brother asked who they were, they always hung up and he said, they always had been an accent. Worse, a man actually tried to pick up Katie from kindergarten claiming it was me. He gave me the office and my full name and told him he was her uncle, here to pick up Katie for a doctor's appointment. When the receptionist said that she was going to call Katie's parents for verification, the man took off running. He didn't even get into a car, he just ran out of the parking lot. I began receiving text messages from very long numbers. The texts always contained links to YouTube videos. I always delete them and block the numbers. By the time I was packing up and preparing to move, the text had stopped, but my brother told me that Katie came home with an air freshener in her coat and couldn't remember how it exactly got there. He sent me a photo of it and I recognized it was the same type from my office. He said it had no odor. Things started to settle down for a while. My first year of grad school blindsided me, and I forgot all about the strange accidents. But over the summer, between my first and second year, something else had happened, reignited my old fears. I worked part-time at the university library, and I always looked at the night shift before I relaxed on work on grant applications, and didn't have time to deal with many students. But one night, an older man checked out a stack of medical books at my counter. He looked and smelled like a preferred professor. So I thought nothing of it when he struck up a conversation and asked me if I had my flu shot yet. I told him and I had, and he smiled and turned to leave. But then at the door he turned back to me and called out, "And has Katie had all of her vaccinations?" By the time I recovered from the shock of the question, the man disappeared into the dark outside. He left the books by the door.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.